Hey guys, it's Matt Fallman here with Offstreet Technology. So I know Brock has spoken to you guys about kind of the logistics that we'd like to set up at the depot, but I wanted to run through what the software looks like and how your team, how Brock's team will interact with it. Basically, what we're trying to solve for is eliminating theft and the potential for theft. And the way we want to do this is by having a system where we record every entry and every exit digitally, and then they have to balance, sort of thing. That's kind of what our goal is here. So there's a couple pieces of software here. What I'm going to start off with is our first screen, and this is what a parking lot attendant will see when they're entering in a license plate registration. So the logistics is everyone who comes in will be greeted with a lot attendant. The first thing that happens, the lot attendant will ask them for their license plate, enter one in here, and they will have this accessible by a tablet. Okay, so what are we doing? This is entry, so we click entry. Finally, we're going to ask for an employee number so we can track who is doing what, although this is optional, probably makes sense to have in. And that's all they have to do. Now what we're focusing on here is this in time. This is becoming our check-in point. So we know that they entered at 1:44 p.m. This is their license plate and the lot attendant was responsible for it. Let's say a second vehicle comes in. We're going to do the same thing again. This is going to be their first screen. Let's try. Okay, it's an entry, same employee number, and this license plate has now entered in the system. So that's the first half. We have their entry point. You can ignore this out time. It's irrelevant for our purposes. It's just part of the software, but it has nothing to do with this setup. So now we need a corresponding exit time, and our proposal is to have a similar kiosk installed at the end vendor. So when they're in there shopping, they can get free parking by simply telling the vendor their license plate, and the vendor will basically check them out. So we'll walk through what that would look like. Let's imagine that they were at the chocolate factory. This is the screen that the vendor would actually have on a tablet. So it's that first guy who came in, and he's leaving now. He's done his shopping. Let's imagine this is an hour in the future, and he's ready to leave. Great. Same thing. What's our employee number? Again, this is optional, but we have it for today's sake. Good. So again, we're focusing on this time here, this in time. This really corresponds to the checkout time. So we know that they have an in from earlier. This is their out time now with the chocolate factory. So what this means is they don't have to pay. So let's flash forward to them actually leaving the facility. So the lot attendant is basically going to look up and say, okay, you're leaving. Let's just look you up in our system here. Great. We see two entries here. We have this start time of 1:44, and we're clicking on it. We see, okay, this is the lot attendant. This is their check-in. That's good. And same thing. This second option here is, okay, they went through the chocolate factory, and this is their exit time right here. So we know that they are good. They do not have to pay. They are done. They can leave. Now let's try that again for the other guy. Now imagine he didn't actually shop at the chocolate factory or a vendor. Same thing. He's going to come to the lot attendant. He's going to look up his plate. He's going to say, okay, I have one entry here, and this is their entry. The lot attendant entered them in at 12:45. And we know that this is when he just came into the system, but he did not shop inside, so he has to pay. So the lot attendant then just creates a corresponding exit. And what that means, let's put him in the system again. Exit. Okay, 1, 2, 3, authorized it. How did they pay? And I know you just accept cash or Square, but it's nice to have a reconciliation of that. He paid with cash. Good. So again, this is the key variable here. We know that they have an exit, and the lot attendant authorized it at this time with this license plate. So now you've got two customers who've successfully entered and exited the facility, meaning we're going to have 4 registrations, 2 for each person. So what we're going to do is we're going to run a quick report, see what that looks like. Okay, let's go for the depot. Today is the 6th. Let's just create a quick report, see the activity on the facility. Great. You just pick our dates. These are the columns of information that will pop up. Download it as a CSV or Excel. Open it up. Pretty straightforward. So what we're dealing with here is essentially what we're looking for is the double entry system. So you have AAA 123 and AAA 123. So we know that this person entered the facility at 1:44 local time. We can see it was an entry and that the employee was Brock Pittman, 123. We also know that they exited 2 minutes later, and this was done by the chocolate factory, and it was authorized by Dave Smith. So we know that this person is good to go. They parked on site. All of that is, they're good. Now, at the same token, what we have here is BBB 456. This is the other example I quickly showed you. So we can see that they entered at 1:45. It was authorized by Brock Pittman, 123, and then they left the lot 2 minutes later, and Brock Pittman authorized them. This means that they owe some money. Right now, this report does not generate the additional fields of cash or square, but we'll integrate that for you guys. We just didn't really need it for any clients, so we didn't set it up that way. What your goal is at the end of the day is to make sure that everyone has 2 entries. If they're missing one, you know someone made a mistake. This is how you reconcile and ensure that everyone has entered and exited appropriately. And you can do a quick formula in here to ensure that the appropriate amount of money was added. And that way we're preventing the abuse. As a quick video, I just wanted to give you guys a very high-level overview of how this works logistically. It's pretty straightforward, but if you have any questions, I'm happy to help. You can reach me at 306-535-8315 or talk to Brock and he can pass along my details. But thank you so much for your time.